Welcome to the Candidate Forum for Westchester County Legislative District 9, hosted by the League of Women Voters of Northwest Westchester. I'm Terry Lucan, co-president of the Northwest Westchester League. Since 1920, the League of Women Voters has been a nonpartisan grassroots organization working to protect and expand voting rights and ensure everyone is represented in our democracy. Our mission is simple: to empower voters and defend democracy. We do this through advocacy, education, and litigation at the local, state, and national levels. The League does not support or oppose candidates or political parties. The League is fully compliant to ensure, in principle and practice, with our national organization's diversity, equity, and inclusion policy. Membership is open to everyone 16 years of age or older. In tonight's candidate forum, you will have the opportunity to listen to the candidates' views about significant issues in our county, so you may make an informed decision in the upcoming election on November 4th. Early voting is in progress and ends Sunday, November 2nd, at over 25 locations in Westchester. You can find the locations and times on our website, lwv-nww.org, or the Westchester County Board of Elections website. Before we begin, I welcome our candidates this evening, Laurie Ryan and Emiljana Ulaj. Our moderator for this evening is Marcia Brewster from Hastings. Our timekeeper is Riley Campbell, and our tech coordinator is Kathy Meany. The forum will be recorded, so I will take a moment to review the League's recording policy. Only the videographer authorized by the League may record this forum. Under no circumstances may candidates or attendees record the proceedings. Any authorized use of the recording requires advance approval of the League of Women Voters. Only licensed media, including TV, newspapers, and radio, are entitled by FCC regulations to air portions of the recording. Anyone else who broadcasts or streams it must do so in its entirety. The forum recording will be posted on our website and also on the League's YouTube channel. The YouTube recording can be viewed in other languages or closed captioning for those who may choose to. Please now allow me to introduce our moderator for this evening, Marcia Brewster of the Rivertowns League. She has served as president of the United Nations Association Westchester chapter for many years. Having worked at the United Nations for over 30 years, she devoted her career to programs related to water and sanitation, sustainable development, and gender equality. We thank her for being here with us this evening.
Thank you for the introduction, Terry. Good evening to our candidates and to participants on the Zoom call. It's my pleasure to be here. In accordance with League policy, I'm not a voter in this district. I am pleased, as Terry has already done, to introduce the candidates, Mrs. Laurie Ryan and Miss Emiljana Ulaj. The forum will be recorded and the recorder will be available on the LWVNWW website and their YouTube channel. Welcome to you all. Before we get started, I would like to go over a few ground rules. The order of opening statements has been determined by lots that were drawn before the meeting. The order of closing statements will be in the reverse order of opening statements. The order in which candidates will respond to questions will be rotated by the moderator to assure fairness. Throughout the forum, no comments of a personal or abusive nature will be permitted. The moderator will rule this out of order. The allotted time for the opening and closing statements will be 2 minutes. The timekeeper will indicate when 30 seconds remain in the allotted time and with a yellow sign, and when the time is up with a red stop sign. The opening statements will be followed by 60 minutes of 10 or more questions prepared by the League from questions submitted prior to candidates' night by email and electronic form. These questions have not been shared with the candidates prior to this evening's forum. No questions from the audience will be allowed. The moderator will address each question to each candidate, and each candidate will have 1.5 minutes to respond. The order in which candidates respond will be rotated by the moderator to ensure fairness. Question response times will be strictly enforced. The timekeeper will indicate when 30 seconds remain and when to stop. A candidate will be allowed to finish a sentence once started. Each candidate will be allowed 2 30-second rebuttals. During closing statements, each candidate will have 2 minutes to speak. The candidates will not interrupt each other or the moderator during the forum. The moderator will have the authority to pause the proceedings to enforce the ground rules and format. Except for time limits, the only restriction on candidate statements and answers are respect and civility. So now we begin. We will begin with opening statements. Candidates, you will each have up to 2 minutes to make an opening statement. We will begin with Mrs. Ryan.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Just making sure I unmuted it.
Yes.
Okay. Hello, Westchester, and thank you to the league and my opponent for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in tonight for District 9 and everybody else who's listening. It would be my privilege to serve you as your next county legislator. I'm retired, so this role would be my full-time job and my full-time commitment to you. Westchester is one of the most beautiful counties in the country. It's home to open spaces, vibrant riverfront, many Fortune 500 companies, great school districts. It's excellent proximity to New York City, but it also happens to be, as we know, one of the most expensive. My family and I have lived here our entire lives. I spent 32 years as a high school math teacher and department chair at Alexander Hamilton in Elmsford, mentoring hundreds of students and colleagues. I also served 12 years as an elected school board trustee in the Hendrick-Hudson District. I volunteered as a coach in my time to the town. I have been a member of strategic planning, finance, policy, safety, emergency, facilities, leadership, communication committees and plans. And I have patience. These are the qualities that I'll bring to this job. So why am I running? Honestly, it started with my Con Ed bill, and I'm sure we can all feel that. When I saw our delivery charges were triple the usage charge, I knew something was wrong and hopefully I could do something. So I started watching some of the county meetings, and I kind of realized that maybe we need a little bit more common sense. District 9 residents told me their concerns were property and school taxes, energy costs, infrastructure, zoning, quality of life, safety regarding an increase in people here illegally, and protecting our waterfront. So those are my priorities too. My focus is on local issues that affect us locally. All of us are paying high taxes. All of us are paying outrageous Con Ed bills. All of us drive on our roads and cross our bridges. Well, of course, I have national and state concerns. I'm just looking to help make our district more affordable, take care of our infrastructure, and maintain our quality of life. So thank you for tuning in tonight.
Sorry. Ms. Ulaj?
Good evening. Thank you so much to the League of Women Voters for all that they do to uphold small d democratic values, including hosting this forum. Thank you to my opponent for joining us and to all the viewers for tuning in. My name is Emiljana Ulaj, and it's been my honor to serve in county government. This is my first term as a county legislator. I ran in 2023 with a background in organized labor, public service, and community advocacy. My focus during my first term has been on affordability, sustainability, and government accessibility. And I believe I've been able to deliver on all three fronts. County government has held the line on property taxes. We have invested in affordable housing to address the housing shortage. And we continue to invest in the Westchester Works Child Care Scholarship, the most generous child care subsidy in the state, allowing families that earn up to 500% of the federal poverty level to qualify for a county subsidy on their child care bill, allowing parents to stay in the workforce and children to have safe, high-quality care. On sustainability, we are working to invest in renewable energy generation, investing in converting our Beeline bus fleet to all electric or hybrid buses. We have invested in hundreds of new EV charging stations throughout the county, including in District 9, to give people the confidence to make the switch to an EV vehicle. And we have also assisted local municipalities in investing in their own composting programs. And on my last pillar on accessibility, it's about ensuring constituents know that what county government does for them every day, day in and day out. I do a weekly e-newsletter where I break down county government work, and I have a very active public social media account for constituents to engage with me. Not to mention, I'm at community events many times during the week, sometimes daily. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ulaj. We will now begin the question and answer period. Each candidate will be given an opportunity to answer each question, and we will rotate who answers first. You will each have up to 1.5 minutes to respond. The first question: if elected or re-elected, what are your top 3 priorities for the district? Ms. Ulaj, you begin.
Thank you. I just addressed that in my opening remarks. My top priorities are affordability, sustainability, and government accessibility, and those continue to be my priorities if I am lucky enough to be reelected. Fighting Con Edison on their proposed rate increase has been a major priority of my first term as well. We fought to intervene in the case in front of the Public Service Commission. I've spoken up at several public hearings, and we've held 12 public hearings throughout the county, public input sessions throughout the county, collecting information on how people are feeling and data so that we can send it back to Con Edison to fight them back on their proposed rate increase. So affordability is really top of mind for constituents in this moment, and we have to do more. We have to protect the child care scholarship for residents, and we have to do more to create more housing, because right now that is the biggest expense people are facing. Their housing bill every month. They're having a tough time staying in the communities that they love. Young people have a tough time moving back to places that they love, like Croton. There just isn't housing options available for them at the rates that they can afford. So those are some of the most important issues. And of course, on sustainability, continuing to invest boldly in renewable energy generation, investing in upgrades to our infrastructure for better enhancements, and of course, investing in accessibility so that people know that they can always reach out to me and I will always be approachable.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Ryan, please unmute.
Well, this is a lot of information in one question. I was hoping it was going to be 3 different things, to tell you the truth. So I am actually running on affordability, infrastructure, and quality of life. Do you hear that ticking noise? Well, so for affordability, I don't think we need more affordable housing. I think we need lower taxes. I would be willing to work with the state officials and our legislator on different ways that we could lower property taxes for everybody. I also propose that we eliminate school taxes for single-family homeowners who are 65 and above. Of course, we have to fight against these Con Ed rates, and I hope there's a question on that because there's a lot involved with that of their property taxes, and maybe we could lower their property taxes contingent on their savings being reflected in our usage bills. I think when we talk about affordable housing, we need workforce affordable housing so that the people who work in our areas can live in our areas if they so choose. We help small businesses by helping with tax breaks and other financial opportunities for them. For infrastructure, I really believe that we need a 10-year infrastructure plan. That's one of the things I actually heard the most. Like, we're getting $19 million from the Westchester bill, and we want to make sure that that gets applied correctly to our roads and bridges. That was a big thing, and to mitigate our flooding. Quality of life has to do with keeping us safe, repeal the Immigration Protection Act, defend local zoning, protect our waterfronts, and to protect our air, water, and soil. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Question number 2. Residents, as well as elected officials, have pushed back against Con Edison's proposed rate hikes. I think you mentioned this. As a county legislator, what can you do to help bring down utility bills? And Mrs. Ryan, you are first. Unmute. Mrs. Ryan, can you unmute?
Yeah, my mouse is not helping. So we all know that I just mentioned that that's why I'm even getting involved in this. Con Edison, their property taxes went from 8 million to over 1.3 billion dollars. You know what? Let me first say I appreciate all the linemen and workers who come out and fix our outages so quickly. So I really thank you for that. But our delivery charges are out of control. It started about 5 years ago. And I said the Con Ed property taxes went from 8 million to over 1.3 billion. Every wire, pole, underground wire is hit with property taxes. I'll propose that we decrease Con Ed's property taxes, again, contingent on those savings being reflected in deductions in our rates. I'll do whatever we can to join elected officials in stopping the governor's All Electricity Building Act. We don't have the infrastructure for that. And quite frankly, can you imagine what our electricity rates will be then? Also, I don't know because I'm not a legal person, but I would work with our legal experts on the monopolies by Con Ed and NYSEG, quite frankly. Hopefully, the governor is working with the PSC, the real agency that decides whether the rates go up. But I appreciate all the forums that have been held, but those are the things that I wish we can do. Undo the monopoly and lower their rates so that those reflect on us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I have been very outspoken in my opposition to the Con Edison rate hike proposal. I have spoken up at several public hearings. I joined my colleagues on the Board of Legislators to intervene in the case to give our voice a stronger weight during the process. Unfortunately, the Public Service Commission is the only one who gets to ultimately make the decision. They will vote on what increase Con Edison is allowed. I am prepared to support major changes to this process if they don't do the right thing. This is an issue on which there was bipartisan alignment across the board, across municipalities, across different levels of government. This is a really tough time for affordability for residents, and as residents are having to make tough choices about what bills to pay to make ends meet, Con Edison also needs to figure out where it can tighten its belt because what they have proposed is wholly unacceptable. And we know that they have room to make cuts to their proposal because on their website, they boast that for 46 consecutive years, they have increased the dividend that they have paid out to their shareholders. For 46 years, every year, not only have they paid a dividend, which is common for utility companies that are public, but they have increased that dividend every year. And as part of their proposal this year, that includes an increase in the dividend as well. That is totally unacceptable in this moment when people are suffering so much. They are a sanctioned monopoly, and as such, these increases must be strictly scrutinized. People have no option but to use their services in their homes, and we cannot allow them to increase the costs this much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Question number 3. Given Westchester County's housing crisis, how would you balance the need for additional housing, particularly affordable housing, with residents' concerns about overdevelopment? Mrs. Ulaj, you are first.
Thank you so much. So housing is such an important issue in this moment. Young people, as I mentioned earlier, can't afford to move back to the communities that they grew up in and love. Seniors have no place to downsize to. Say you're a senior in Croton and you live in a single family home. You don't want to leave Croton. You love Croton. You've been living here for 40 years, but you want to downsize to a small condo, perhaps. There are no options for you, very few options, very few affordable options for you to stay in the community that you love. And be able to downsize. And so being able to build reasonably, I think we really need to engage the public a lot more in this discussion. I feel that the community members who already live here have very strong opinions about what should come up, as they should. This is the community, and they're entitled to protect the look and feel of that community. So I think engaging the public more and from beginning to end and exactly what a proposal should look like and where it should go, how tall the building should be, how many units it should have, hopefully can get more people on board with supporting these projects, because we need it. We are in a crisis. We are in a major housing shortage crisis, and there is no way out of the crisis without us building more. And we need the community's cooperation and their input on where they would be willing to allow it and what they want it to look like for them to be happy with it.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Ryan. Please unmute.
I know. I too share the public's concern about housing affordability, but we also have to ask, what is our role in the state plan, the county plan, to solve this problem? I believe growth has to be strategic and not one size fits all. I support each locality deciding what their need is, and not a mandate coming from the state forcing affordable and low-income housing projects wherever they want to put them. I will not support any project that causes a decrease in our home values and affects our quality of life. I will also support workforce housing, affordable housing for workforce that allows our local employees, police, first responders, school staff, local employees to live where they work if they so choose. We're also a district rich in land formations and steep slopes and wetlands, and a river gorge for Croton. Evaluating the right strategic mix of 100% affordability, plus market rate apartments, condos, mixed use with commercial, while safeguarding the environment, is critical to ensuring we have necessary income to support the infrastructure requirements of a growing population without incurring tax hikes. So right next to me in Croton is Maple Commons, which by the way started without unions, and it shifted from 33% to 100% affordable units, which doesn't help your school district at all. It doesn't bring in the revenue. So that was one of the biggest complaints from Croton. So I think that affordable housing has to be decided locally based on its needs.
Thank you very much. So question number 4. The Westchester County Rent Guidelines Board recently approved increases of 2% on 1-year leases and 3% on 2-year leases for rent stabilized apartments. What is your view on this recent decision by the board that has both tenants and landlords dissatisfied? Mrs. Ryan, you are first. Please unmute.
Aren't I unmuted?
Now you are.
Okay. Again, I don't know what law was passed last January, because I am not up to date as I should be on this. But I believe that you cannot have an increase if you've signed a lease. So I don't know if this is going against that or not. So maybe there would be legal cases. However, I know a lot of people cannot afford where they're living. But we also have to protect landlords too, because they're the ones paying mortgages. And if they don't have the rent coming in, they can't pay their mortgages, and they're faced with foreclosures and losing what they have also. So we really need to come up with a balance. And I will support whatever the experts in the field say that and listening to the public. They're already complaining about, I don't want to use the complaining, but upset, and rightly so, that their rates are going up 2 to 3% a month. And then you have to decide, like my opponent said, what bills are you going to pay? Are you going to pay to live? Or are you going to pay to get your food? So I think there has to be a balance, and we need to revisit that increase with protections for landlords as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ulaj.
Thank you so much. So I'm so glad you brought that up, actually, because I led the fight to ensure that that increase was only going to be 2% or under. The Westchester County Rent Guidelines Board sets the limits for rent increases for all ETPA protected properties. They meet in June and they hold public hearings in June where they collect public input to set those increases. The board is made up of individuals representing tenants, individuals representing landlords, and a couple of unbiased individuals, and they vote on what those rent increases will be. In June, I worked with my colleagues to lead a letter from the Board of Legislators and urging them to set an increase limit of 2% or under, just like government has to stay under 2% increases. In this moment, we felt that rent increases should also stay at 2% or under. This is a really critical time where affordability is top of mind for folks, and renters can't afford the squeeze anymore. Vacancy rates in Westchester, vacancy rates for rental units are at 1.9%. This is a historically low vacancy rate, meaning tenants have no options for where to go. If the landlord offers them an exorbitant rate increase, as the way they were proposing at these hearings, landlords were proposing between 8 and 10% increases, completely unacceptable. But I'm really glad that I led the fight with my colleagues on the board to convince them to put a reasonable 2% increase. It wasn't a zero. Tenants would have loved to have a 0% increase. We're not going to get a zero. We got a reasonable 2% that helps landlords pay their bills while also protects tenants. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Question number 5. Likely federal cuts to Medicaid, SNAP, and other social services will lead to a significant financial shortfall for the county and could strip benefits from thousands of residents. If elected, what, if any, strategies would you propose to address this potential crisis? Ms. Ulaj, you are first.
This is the most heartbreaking part about serving in local government right now, seeing the federal cuts come down from the federal budget bill and knowing the critical services that are going to be in danger, and knowing that we have limited options for what we can do. We know that our residents are already overstretched with their property taxes, right? And so the county gets revenue in 2 ways, through property taxes and through sales tax. Those are the 2 ways the revenue comes into the county. We know that we have to be very careful in protecting our property taxpayers. They are already overstretched. What I have been doing is advocating with our state elected officials and advocating to the governor that we have to increase taxes on the wealthy, income taxes, those who can most afford it, those who are earning $1 million or more every year annually, right? This is not someone who has a nice little home and a safe retirement. This is someone who's earning $1 million or more annually, can afford to pay a couple of percent more so that the state can funnel funds to fund these critical services, so that we can continue to fund critical services for people at most in need, services like healthcare, services like food, SNAP benefits, right? I think this is a moment where our wealthy neighbors, and God bless them, they worked hard, they found a career that fulfills them and that provides for them. They can afford to pay a couple of percent more without affecting their quality of life, but being able to do so much for our neighbors in need. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Ryan.
I didn't really want to get into anything national, but I think this is more of a state and national and federal programs. I don't believe in I don't believe in a 52% tax on our wealthiest Americans. I think if things want to get changed, that it has to be done through Congress. But Ms. Ulaj is correct. Residents are in need. And I don't think there are any, right now, there are no cuts to these programs. And if I may, if we can open up our government, I think we would be happier people that everybody is getting SNAP benefits, and Medicare and Medicaid are fully funded. I would like to keep out of the federal right now. Westchester alone, I mean, when we talk about a budget, we have, I think our record tax, we're bringing in $462 million in surplus, if I'm correct. I mean, we do have money to help these programs and these people in need in the interim. So this is a hard one for me because I think the government needs to open up, and I think that they need to do it very quickly to help all of our residents who are in need. But I don't think that taxing our wealthier residents is going to help that. I didn't answer that well, but that's how I feel.
Thank you. Question number 6. What other steps would you propose to address the food insecurity problem in Westchester? And Mrs. Ryan, you're first.
Absolutely. I participated through my school in a lot of our food pantry trucks and supplying food pantries with food. And I think what we're doing right now is wonderful, but needs to be expanded. So people, I don't know if we need to advertise it more or go out to the public more. But if people can donate more to our food pantries, if we could have more mobile food pantries like we do in school parking lots and across the county, I think that that would benefit tremendously. I'm also a fan of community gardens. You know, people maybe funding for more so they can get their vegetables and their fruits and work there and be a part of our community. But absolutely, we need to make sure there's funding for those places that we already have and expand those dramatically. We have people in need and are hungry right now. And I'm going to tell you, it's not so much in District 9, but I will support the rest of the, you know, fortunately, we live in a beautiful area. Emiljana and I live in a beautiful area, and but there are people in need, and we'll work with the rest of the legislators to make sure that funding for that happens. I'll work with anybody to make sure that and especially our kids, have food that they need.
Thank you. Ms. Ulaj?
Thank you so much. So this is absolutely, an issue all over Westchester and in this region. Westchester County has 40,000 families that rely on SNAP benefits funded by the federal government. And on November 1st, 2 days from now, they will not get their payments for the first time in the 60-year history of the federal SNAP program. It will be missing payments. This is shameful and so deeply heartbreaking. We obviously must continue to do everything we can for our food pantries. I know that at the county level, we will increase what we're able to do for feeding Westchester and all of the local providers that they work with to ensure they have what they need. We can do our best to have what they need for the increase that the community will turn to them more and more as they don't get their SNAP benefits starting November 1st. Aside from that, we need to continue to put pressure on the federal government to get back to work and continue funding these critical services. The county already does a lot to help these local nonprofits meet the need. This past, during my first term as well, I was able to get $10,000 in funding to invest in the food basket program run by the Croton Caring Committee. I've been a volunteer with the Croton Caring Committee off and on for a couple of years, and I love what they did with the food basket program. So I was able to get them a special funding as well, two $10,000 grants. We will continue to help our local food pantries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Question number 7. The Westchester County Immigrant Protection Act prohibits county employees and departments from using county resources to assist in federal immigration enforcement. It also outlines what information county law enforcement will require from those with whom they interact and prohibits county agencies from entering into 287G agreements with the Department of Homeland Security. What are your views on this act? Ms. Ulaj?
Thank you so much, and thank you for bringing up this topic. Ultimately, the Immigrant Protection Act is about enforcing due process rights for everyone and protecting the dignity of our immigrant population in the district. We would never want law enforcement detaining individuals without due process. Due process is a fundamental right in our Constitution, in our Bill of Rights, and that's what the Immigrant Protection Act protects. The Immigrant Protection Act also keeps us safer because it allows immigrant community members to turn to law enforcement in times of need without worrying that they will be questioned about their immigration status. And that's what we want. We want someone turning to police when they need police. If there is an undocumented immigrant who has broken the law, ICE has full authority and many avenues through which they can get a judicial warrant and get help detaining that individual, which I fully support. I stand by the Immigrant Protection Act, and I stand by protecting the dignity of our immigrant community members. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Ryan? Mrs. Ryan?
Marcia, can I just ask, there was no instruction on a rebuttal.
Oh, yes. You can have two 30-second rebuttals. You just asked for it. Do you want to rebut on that one?
It was on the last one. I didn't want to refute anything that Ms. Ulaj says. I just wanted to add to my own statement, but that's okay. So
okay, you get two 30-second rebuttals. Okay.
Okay.
On the
I think everybody. We ready for the immigration one?
The immigration, yes. The immigration question, yes.
I think everybody pretty much knows my views on this. Just let me say, we could be compassionate, but we also have to use common sense. And the priority of any elected official is the safety of its residents. While I think we need to repeal the 2018 Immigration Protection Act that actually protects those here illegally and committing crimes. And make no doubt about it, we are indeed a sanctuary county by definition. When police agencies are not allowed to cooperate and work with each other, that's the definition of a sanctuary county. And we are indeed one. And if we repeal that, we also bring back and restore millions of dollars to our county. This act prevents law agencies from cooperating with each other. I support John Vetterman when he says, what is so controversial about removing people here illegally who are committing crimes? I mean, we just had a 16-year-old murdered in Somers. We had somebody lit on fire on a subway in the city. I also agree with Bill Clinton's Immigration Act, which allows for expedited removal that goes beyond everybody's due process. So I want you to be safe. I want us to be safe, and I want us to have compassion. I mean, just know that when I was a teacher, like I taught in a diverse high school, and I helped families apply for DACA. So we could be compassionate, but we also have to use common sense in keeping us safe. So I think there has to be a balance, and I would actually be okay with repealing or amending this Immigration Protection Act.
Thank you. Question number 8.
Forgive me, I'm raising my hand to...
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Ms. Ulaj. Go ahead. Is this a rebuttal?
This is a rebuttal to the
30-second rebuttal. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much. I just want to make it clear that the Immigrant Protection Act in no way protects an undocumented immigrant who's committed crimes. An undocumented immigrant who's committed crimes, ICE has full authority to get a judicial warrant, and every law enforcement official in Westchester County will cooperate with them in identifying and detaining that individual who has committed crimes. We are all on the same page in protecting our residents, protecting public safety, and the Immigrant Protection Act is about enforcing due process rights, not about anything else. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question, according to environmental, sorry, Mrs. Ryan, do you want to do a rebuttal?
Slightly. I've done a lot
30 seconds. Okay, 30 seconds rebuttal.
Okay. I understand everything my opponent is saying, but that's not what's happening. We have law enforcement agencies who are not allowed to work with each other. I've spoken to, I can't tell you how many police officers and how many ICE agents, and they're not allowed to communicate with each other. And until that happens, I mean, we're protecting people here illegally committing crimes. I don't see the controversy with removing these people. We have enough crazies of our own, quite frankly, and I want to protect our citizens more than anything else.
Thank you very much. Okay, question number 8. According to Environmental Protection Agency data, wind waste, also known as the Wheelabrator incineration, at Charles Point, is the largest air polluter in Westchester County. In addition, Peekskill has the highest asthma rate in the county. Wheelabrator's contract with Westchester County expires in 2029. What do you see as solutions to Westchester's garbage disposal in the short term and in the long term? Mrs. Ryan, you are first. Please unmute.
So we have Wheelabrator right in our backyard. It's right in Peekskill, right on the riverfront by us. I don't know what the county is going to do because, quite frankly, we need facilities to get rid of our garbage instead of burying it in the, like Croton has a mountain on the riverfront. I know it's not our district, but over near Sprout, there's a mountain over there of garbage. So I don't know if it's the best idea to not continue with Wheelabrator. Maybe put it to a more useful use. Maybe send more there. So I think this goes also more into the environment because we also have Indian Point in our backyard. So I'm a staunch conservative and a protector of our environment advocate. We all breathe the air, we drink the water, we all eat the food planted in the soil. I'll write and support legislation that improves the quality of our drinking water, crack down on pollutants and contaminants, protect our parks, our waterfronts, and open spaces. I'll work diligently to make sure our recycling programs and our garbage, county-owned garbage, private and public, are working and efficient. Our water supplies and landfills and toxic locations need to be monitored with easily accessible results, and companies and individuals need to be held accountable for pollution violations. I don't know the legal ease of Wheelabrator right now, but I know it's one of our properties that disposes of garbage. So until I speak with the legislators, I don't know what they plan to do, but I think we need to keep it because where else are we going to put it right now? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ms. Ulaj.
Thank you so much. This is a really tough challenge that we have to deal with, right? We have to deal with our solid waste. Going back to using a landfill is just not an option. And this district has dealt with that for generations, right? We have a capped landfill at Croton Point Park that was closed, and then the wind waste was opened up, and that's how we deal with our solid waste today. We burn it, right? Which is terrible, but there are no other good alternatives in this moment except for moving towards zero waste solutions, moving toward a circular economy, ensuring that the waste that we're producing is recyclable and reusable. There are many strategies toward this, and we have a study going on at the county right now for how to help us move toward that direction. We have increased the amount of waste that we are able to recycle through all different areas. We are investing in composting programs. If everyone diverted their food scraps to composting, it would take away 30% of everyone's waste. That is a huge chunk that we would be able to reduce for what's going right now to wind waste to be incinerated. We can hold companies accountable for their packaging production, right? You order something in the mail, you order a couple of pens, and it turns into this Russian doll situation of packaging. That's unacceptable. Why is that happening? We need to hold companies accountable and make sure that the things that they are producing are also recyclable, right? So ensuring zero waste practices and investing in the technology at wind waste to make sure it is the most up-to-date technology and filtering the air to protect the local community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Question number 9. There is a growing controversy over Indian Point, both with the federal court ruling that could permit dumping of radioactive wastewater into the Hudson River and with talk of potential recommissioning a new nuclear power plant. Where do you stand on these issues? Ms. Ulaj?
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute honor to serve on the Decommissioning Oversight Board for Indian Point. The person that holds this seat in the county government has a position on that Decommissioning Oversight Board. And we've been holding Holtec accountable. They were given over $1 billion to do that decommissioning, and there are disincentives in the system for them to cut corners. And I'm there to make sure that they don't do that. One of the corners that they want to cut is release that 1 million gallons of radioactive water right into the Hudson. And I'm there to say, absolutely not. I do not want that done. They need to do more research and bring us better plans for how to responsibly deal with that water. Although painful for the community, closing Indian Point was the right thing to do, considering the catastrophic damage that it would cost. God forbid something went wrong in that location, and there are 20 million people who would be impacted. So we need to figure out what operation can happen there again, responsibly decommission, bring back family-sustaining union jobs to the region that can generate revenue for the village of Buchanan and revenue for the Hendrick Hudson School District. I'm in communication with our state and local elected officials to figure out what economic activity we can bring there. And in fact, when the county was negotiating our pilot agreement with Holtec, we chose to take a reduced sum from Holtec in property taxes to give the school district more money because we know that they need it more in this moment. So this is top of mind for me as a county legislator who represents Indian Point, but I believe that it was the right thing to do to close it. I am fully against reopening any nuclear facility in the Hudson Valley, but I do believe in making sure that we figure out what we can do to bring back economic activity in the region. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, my questions got all out of order here. Hang on just a second. I think we were on number 10.
To that Indian Point.
No, we were on Indian Point. That was 9. So we're at 10. Sorry, everybody. What are your priorities for infrastructure improvements in the county, particularly in Legislative District 9? Mrs. Ryan?
Marcia,
sorry, Mrs. Ryan I'm sorry, I don't know what happened to my I apologize. Mrs. Ryan, please, on the Indian Point.
Not a problem at all. The closure of Indian Point was a turning point for Westchester, and it's a perfect example of why the county needs legislators who ask the right questions. When Indian Point closed, very few asked the simple but crucial questions: where's our energy going to come from, and how much is it going to cost our residents? The result has been skyrocketing energy bills and uncertainty for families and businesses across the county. We now get our energy from a cable coming from Canada. I will entertain any fiscally sound plan to reopen this plant. Let's be clear. Governor Cuomo, New York and Westchester Democrats, and Riverkeeper have fought to close Indian Point Energy Center, spending millions of dollars in courts over the years and making Entergy spending millions of dollars in courts over the years. They closed down an energy facility plant that provided over 2,000 megawatts of carbon-free energy, destroyed thousands of good-paying union jobs, and crippled the tax base of the local communities, especially the school district of Hendrick Hudson and the village of Buchanan. The fear right now is that Holtec is going to, unload all of this water into the Hudson. Well, where were you asking the questions then? There are a couple of decisions. There are a couple of options. Store it on site, which is very dangerous. And if they hold it in tanks for the next 24 years, which is what Cortland is recommending, we'll be exposed to a radioactive release every day of those 24 years. Evaporation is 300 to 700 times more dangerous than water release. Discharge it into the ocean. International law prohibits that. Release it into the Hudson, not for anything, but that's the way it's been done since Indian Point's inception in 1962. The NRC monitors this. The radio material is closely monitored and has always been less than 1% of actually what is allowed.
Thank you very much.
Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I didn't see the stop. I apologize.
Okay.
I apologize.
And I apologize for almost missing you. So anyway, we're back on track.
Not a problem.
Question number 10. What are your priorities for infrastructure improvements in the county, particularly in Legislative District 9? Mrs. Ryan?
Infrastructure was also one of the top concerns when I asked the residents of District 9. Their roads, their bridges, their guardrails, their walk and bike paths, and even flooding that I was not aware of until somebody in Briarcliff said there was flooding. I know it's in other parts of the counties, but I didn't realize it. The first step is transparency. We need an easily accessible road ownership document. Quite frankly, I don't know what roads the county is responsible for or not. And when I asked, nobody else did either. So it would be very helpful if we could have something easily accessible online that people can look up. In addition, the county, in cooperation with affected towns and villages, should proactively inform its residents and business owners before projects begin. The state just passed a budget with millions for road repair, and our county received 19 million. As legislators, we have to ensure that our district gets its fair share on time and that projects are completed efficiently. I personally have an issue with lighting on dark roads and on our walk and ride pathways, as well as installing sidewalks, which was another big concern. Given what just happened in Putnam Valley on one of their walkways, I think lighting and cameras on pathways are good ideas in order to keep people safe. Westchester needs a 10-year comprehensive infrastructure plan, one that is strategic, collaborative with mayors and local highway departments, and accessible to the public. Every project should include clear timelines, penalty for delays, and provisions for flood mitigation when and where necessary. We also have to make sure that a new road
thank you,
doesn't get
Mrs.
torn
Ryan.
up. Okay, thank you.
Yes, Ms. Ulaj.
Thank you so much. So on infrastructure, there are a few different priorities from me. One is stormwater and wastewater systems lines that then go to the county's wastewater treatment centers. Right now, the lines are very old and they are flooding each other. Every time there's a severe storm like what's happening tonight, those stormwater lines flood the wastewater lines, which then go to the wastewater treatment facility, and the wastewater treatment facility has to release partially treated sewage directly into the Hudson River because they have no choice because the system was flooded. So investing in those systems is one of my top priorities. Secondly, flooding. There is a lot of flooding happening in our local communities. The fact is that our local infrastructure was not built for the type of storms and the severity of storms and the frequency of storms that we're seeing today. And so we continue to invest in our infrastructure. Just during my first term, we've invested $1.2 million in a flood mitigation project in Briarcliff. And this past month, we announced $700,000 in funding for a flood mitigation project on Brook Street as well. So storm resiliency and flooding infrastructure is also at the top of my list. After that, it would be building boldly in renewable energy. I can't say this enough. We're building boldly in renewable energy generation to make up that lost energy generation that we lost from Indian Point, to go back to one of the other questions that you were asking. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Question number 11. Given that the jurisdiction over Route 9A and Route 9 is held by New York State, what can or should the county do to help find the best solution for these roads? Ms. Ulaj?
So this, I'm guessing the solution in terms of traffic, is that the...
Yeah, it's kind of given the jurisdiction over 9A and 9 is held by New York State, what can or should the county do to help find the best solution for these roads?
I'm guessing the question is about traffic as a commuter in this district, right? Driving in and out of this region every morning, I feel it too, and it is rough out there. It's very rough. Thankfully, the state is implementing a full reimagining of that throughway to figure out how to best alleviate those traffic pressures. Some of that may include removing a lot of those red lights where the traffic builds up behind them and turning them into interchanges instead of the red lights where the line backs up into the other lines because they want to turn left. That traffic line will back up, changing it into an interchange instead. So the state has heard our plea and begging for help on this issue, and they are studying a full reimagining of that throughway. Additionally, personally, on the county's part, I fully believe that we need to be investing more in public transportation, right? When you turn 50 cars all back to back to back into just one bus, it alleviates that traffic. But right now, the bus isn't really a full alternative, a viable alternative, because it's just not as fast as taking your own personal vehicle. And so we need to do more to make the buses faster, to create smaller transit routes that connect us to the bigger routes, and to make the Beeline bus system a true, viable alternative to using your own personal car. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mrs. Ryan.
This is one we completely agree on, absolutely agree on, especially when you get into that, Briarcliff and North State Road. And I do know that New York State is already delving into a strategic planning for just our purposes. And if our county legislator has reached out to the state and forced them to do that, then I appreciate that very much. And I don't really like the turnaround, the circles, but you're absolutely right. The exit ramps are way too short for what we need. I just don't know how much we can expand the roads. But working together, no matter who, working together, I think we need to have our input and residents' input on the strategic planning that the state is going through right now, looking at not just our district roads, but all of Westchester roads. But we certainly have a problem. Traffic is huge. I'm stuck there. When I used to work, I had to go down to Elmsford, and I was stuck at 134 forever, and then stuck at the next light in Briarcliff forever. So I feel everybody's pain, and whatever legislator can do to help New York State and to gather public information on what they would like to happen on their local roads, I'm all for that. So we totally agree.
Thank you very much. So question number 12. How would you involve your constituents in the decision-making process in our communities? Mrs. Ryan, you're first.
I've already done that as a teacher and on all the different committees that I am with kids. You just have to be patient and open and I want to say, and I also didn't see it work. I'm going to show you where it didn't work. When we were converting Hen Hut School District to a different educational system, we did it in 2020. And I was very displeased that we did not involve the entire community that was to be affected. So I believe in surveys. I believe in public forums where people get to speak, just like they have done for all the Con Ed. And I appreciate all those Con Ed forums. So I also was responsible for opening up communication from the board to the community with meet and greets. I was responsible for community engagement at my school. And it's just a matter of getting people to come, giving them food, because that helps a lot when people want to come and speak. But I totally believe in everything should be community engagement. So we need to hold more forums, have more surveys available to people, and have them easily accessible on the legislative website right now is so difficult to follow and to find anything. We need to make that more accessible. So those are just some of my ideas. I don't want to go over. I'm waiting for the stop sign to come on. Thank you.
Now I'm muted, sorry. Mrs. Ulaj, please.
Thank you so much. So this really points to one of the pillars that I really care about, which is government accessibility. I believe in an accountable democratic process, an accountable government. And so one of the things that I do is I do a weekly e-newsletter every week, helping break down what county government does for us week by week. So like last week, I was writing about the grant that we just got for Croton for that flood mitigation project on Brook Street. And through that accessibility and helping people understand what government is doing, people reach out with their questions. And so this week I'm getting questions on what can I do to help folks who are affected by the SNAP cuts. And so I'm going to have a different e-newsletter topic addressing those questions that I'm getting. And being accessible in that way where anyone who reaches out to me, who wants to meet with me, I meet with them. Usually it's at one of our local coffee shops. I joke that I should be paying rent there because I treat them as an office so much. And a local group of moms, I'm going to try to wrap up with a quick story of a success story. A local group of moms reached out to me because they felt that there wasn't enough family recreation in the region. And through their ideas, we were able to get $50,000 in funding for the Westchester Children's Museum in Rye to do 50 free pop-up events in this region for those families. And that was fully their idea. They came to me, they advocated, then I've worked on my side to get them funding for their idea. And now 50 free programs are happening right now in this region for those families. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Question 13. What differentiates you from your opponent? Mrs. Ulaj? You're muted.
Forgive me. I'm going to try to stay positive about this because I don't like to attack my opponent. I don't think that's my job. I really think it's my job to focus on the positive things that I believe in. I believe in the power of government to be a force for good in people's lives, and I try to think through what more we can do to deliver on that promise. The government is supposed to create the conditions for people to thrive and self-actualize. That's what I'm here for. I also believe in the dignity of everyone, and I want to protect the people who are here. I think my positive view of government sets me apart. Like I really believe in the power of government and in the power of it to do good for our people and our communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Ryan? Unmute, please. She's trying.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Again, I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm just going to tell you what I believe in. I believe in a smaller government, to tell you the truth, but that yes, our government should do everything possible for its residents. I think my vulnerable communities are slightly different. My vulnerable communities are our veterans, our seniors, our kids, our surviving spouses, our domestic abuse victims, and our animals. And I actually have plans to help each one of them. I'm going to concentrate on the kids a little bit. It's dear to my heart because I was a teacher for 36 years. I taught in one of the most diverse school districts in the county for 32 years. These kids, 67% Hispanic, 22% Black, the rest Indian, Asian, white. They called me mom, and they called me mom for a reason. I was voted favorite teacher 30 out of 32 years. I wrote hundreds of college recommendations. I helped families apply for DACA. I got them jobs. I helped with the mission into Annapolis, developed monthly Life is All About Choices programs. I took kids on trips. I took kids camping. I held graduation parties. I just did a lot with kids. And what I would like to see is some of those plans that I did be expanded to the county level. So I think I talk more about my particular vulnerable communities. We want our kids to thrive, and let's give them a future with skills, pride, and the connections they need to do that.
Thank you, Mrs. Ryan. Now we have question 14. It is the last question. Small businesses are crucial to our communities. What, if any, plans would you propose to support and increase the number of local businesses? Mrs. Ryan?
Yeah, I really support small businesses. They are the I don't know what the word is. They're the root of our communities, and they're mostly local owners. And I support all of our small businesses, but I support our big businesses too. I think right now the county is offering tax breaks to start. I noticed that there were a lot of boarded up stores a few years ago, and I'm noticing less and less and less. So I think if we continue to give them tax breaks for a period of time, help with their infrastructure and education, and make sure that some kids are working in those stores to get a good foundation on what it is to work hard and some entrepreneurship. And I would actually ask the small business owners what they need from us, because quite frankly, I don't know what to do for them until they tell us what they need. You know, walking around Croton and Briarcliff, they're very happy. So I would work with the rest of the legislators to see what the rest of the county needs in terms of that. So I think we need to bring them on board and ask them. So while they're not detailed plans, I think communication and tax breaks are what's best for our small businesses. Also getting rid of some regulations to help them build. I know that was a problem too, that they're caught up in a lot of town, village, and county regulations. So a lot of people would appreciate the removal of those.
Thank you very much. Ms. Ulaj?
Thank you so much. We agree that small businesses are the backbone of our local communities, and they add so much character to our local downtowns. I'm a big supporter of small businesses. Every time I go in and get a coffee somewhere or get a pastry somewhere, I like to post about it and highlight their work. Thankfully, in county government, we have a business development office that is really helping them figure out the best tools that can help them increase their business. And we have regular forums that they can attend to learn more about finances and growth and where to get new customers. But ultimately, if we want to support more local small businesses, those local small businesses need foot traffic to support the services that they are providing. And that's one of the reasons that we point to the need for more housing development, right? Is that housing development will provide more foot traffic for those small businesses. Additionally, there are plenty of areas where the downtown might just be commercially zoned, and allowing it to be mixed use, right? So that it's commercial on the first floor and residential on top, allows the owner of that building to provide lower rents for the commercial tenant for that small business, so that small business can stay viable, since they'll also be collecting rent from the housing units above it. So I think looking through and seeing where we can make those changes can also help small businesses be viable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, candidates. We will now have closing statements. As I said earlier, closing statements will be given in the reverse order as the opening statements. Each candidate will have up to 2 minutes to make their closing statement. Closing statements, we will begin with Ms. Ulaj.
Thank you again. Thank you again to the League of Women Voters. Thank you to my opponent for being here. Thank you to all of the folks who are watching. I hope that viewers were able to see my passion for local government and what drives me to do this work. And, growing up as an immigrant, as a refugee in this county, I never imagined in my wildest dreams that I would one day run for office and represent my community. But that's the beauty of the American dream. And I've spent the majority of my adult life working in public service, paying forward the gratitude that I feel for being allowed to live in this country. As I mentioned earlier, I believe strongly in government to be a force for good in people's lives. And I believe that the role of government is to create the conditions for people to thrive and self-actualize. That is our job as public servants. And for me, that means investing in things like healthcare, housing, sustainability, education, and family-sustaining jobs so people can have dignity and purpose in their life. I've worked hard to prioritize affordability, sustainability, and government accessibility in my first term. I've worked hard to deliver on all of those promises, and I was able to review just some of those ways that we've been able to deliver. And I've delivered for this district, not just in material ways, but also in standing up for our values, which I think is really important in this moment. And I hope to have your support on Election Day. Thank you.
Mrs. Ryan, your closing statement.
I again want to thank you, the League of Women Voters, for hosting these discussions, to my opponent for being here and making this happen, and to everyone watching tonight. It's been a privilege to share my answers to some of your questions for Westchester and especially the residents of District 9. I'm running for county legislator because I believe our government works best when it listens, questions, and finds common sense solutions. I think for too long we've seen some decisions made without accountability, without real debate, because right now I believe the legislator is made up of 17 people. 15 are Democrats, one is a Republican, one is an independent. So I just believe in a more healthy balance that represents all of us. So I'm hoping that happens. I've built budgets, I've negotiated contracts, I've led teams through challenges, always by focusing on facts and fairness and collaborations. And these are the skills that I'll bring to county government. District 9 residents told me what keeps them up at night: the cost of living, rising property and energy bills, aging roads and bridges, local zoning pressures, and a need to protect our waterfront and quality of life. These aren't partisan issues. They're community issues, and they require balance, transparency, and leadership that asks the right questions. We deserve a legislator that represents all of us. If elected, I'll do my homework. I'll ask the tough questions and work every day to make Westchester more affordable, safer, and stronger for all of us, and concentrate on affordability, infrastructure, and quality of life. I'm ready to serve full-time with full commitment and to be the independent voice that District 9 deserves. And I hope I get your vote too. So I respectfully ask for your vote. Take a look at our website, take a look at our literature, and I thank you for hosting this tonight, and good night to everybody.
Thank you very much. And thank you to both candidates and to the League of Women Voters of Northwest Westchester for hosting the Candidates Forum, to the candidates for their willingness to serve in a volunteer capacity, and to all of you for your community involvement. Thank you also to our League of Women Voters team who put together tonight's forum. Please consider supporting the work we do by joining the League or by making a donation to our Education Foundation. Election Day is Tuesday, November 4th from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. For information on registering to vote or your voting location, please call the district clerk or look at the district website under voting. That concludes our candidate forum for the evening. Did you want to add anything, Terry or Kathy? No?
I actually do, so I'll take it
Go
from
right
here.
ahead,
And
Kathy.
again, candidates, Emiljana, Laurie, thank you so much for participating this evening. Riley, you can actually remove your Post-it note now. Let's see you on camera. We just want to thank Riley Campbell, one of our students from Pace University, who did an outstanding job timekeeping tonight. So thank you, Riley, for that. We really appreciate it. And Marcia, what can I say? It's always a pleasure to see you, and I'm
Thanks,
happy
Kathy.
that you can moderate this evening as well. So don't forget, we're in early voting right now up until Tuesday. You can vote at any poll location throughout the county, but on Tuesday, November 4th, you must vote at your assigned location.
Early voting until Sunday.
Sunday, till Sunday, that's right. So get out there, avoid the lines, don't wait till Tuesday, and get out there and vote now. Thank you all very, very much for this evening. And Terry, great to see you again. I know we'll be talking probably tomorrow already. New plans, new plans. All right, so I'm going to stop the recording. And audience, thank
Thank you
you
all
too for your attendance. Good night, everybody.
Good night.